My name is Tom Reeder. I'm a director for TV productions and internet videos, but my passion has always been adventure. Climbing, diving, camping, hiking, I love it. I started this channel to make my own adventure videos, but I've had a few years where I've struggled to make anything. Firstly, due to the pandemic, then due to the birth of my first child. I decided it was time to challenge myself and get my passion for the outdoors back. So I came up with a challenge that seemed pretty straightforward. I'm going to spend one night a month camping outside. I have 5 rules to guide me. Number 1, solo camping only. Number 2, a different style of camping each time. Number 3, a different location each time. Number 4, rain or shine. And number 5, self-sustained. And the last rule that is so basic I can't even call it a rule, it's the fundamental principle of being outdoors: leave no trace. So join me each month as I go out and discover something new.
Hey. Okay, little fella.
Yes, Daddy's going again.
Right, here we go again. Camp 2 begins.
Bye.
For this night out, I'm not in England. But wait, let's just take it back for a bit of context. My girlfriend and I came to Normandy to visit her dad. He hadn't met our new baby yet, so that was the main reason to come.
There he is. Oh.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Grandpa.
Bonjour, c'est petit. Oh, it's wonderful.
Tony's been living here for 20 odd years, kinda living in the middle of nowhere in an old farmhouse he's converted. Tony is a musician, sign writer and fine art painter, but mostly he's a tinkerer, following his interests in old cars and items that took real hands to craft. He also doesn't speak a lick of French.
Bonjour.
From previous visits, I knew he owned land surrounding his house, so I asked him for a little tour so I could scout possible hammocking locations.
You look like you've got skinny jeans.
They're from Lidl's. They're all modern. Is that more presentable?
Tony has unintentionally rewilded his 12 acres of land. In fact, maybe not so unintentionally.
In the tourist season, there's too many people walking past the house, so I've let it grow over, so there's no way through now. So. Which thing?
Those damn tourists.
Yeah.
Loads of them, hordes.
Yeah, it's not really a recognisable path, Tony. Doesn't look like there's ever been access. So you don't have to like maintain the land then?
No.
So if you were gonna hammock overnight, Tony,
Which I'm not, yeah.
where would you go to? Like what part of your land?
Go to Spain or somewhere.
These signs, Tony.
Yes, the chasse are very protective about their area.
But what does chasse mean?
The chase, the hunting,
Right.
with guns and stuff.
Well, when do the farmers do the hunting?
Well, normally weekend, Sunday is the best day because they're all not working.
Sunday's tomorrow. I'm sleeping out tonight.
If you hear any gunshots, then you'll know, oh, it's only the chasse. Many might get shot.
They're not going to shoot me, right, though? Like, I mean, they're not going to... I know I'm English.
There are accidents, of course. People do get shot. But, the chasse shoot themselves sometimes.
I had to admit that the thought of getting shot at sunrise wasn't the first danger that came to mind when I thought about hammocking out. But I wasn't put off.
So, what do you think my chances of having a successful hammock tonight are, Tony?
Well, all things being equal, I think your chances are probably 60-40.
I'll take those odds, Tony. We've returned to the house and I was buoyed with excitement. The woods looked great. Over the few hours it took me to get everything ready, cloud had gathered and there was some dampness in the air. But this was no excuse, and I had no time to lose.
Whoa!
Now I'm coming back to settle in for the evening. I've got to pitch the hammock first, hang the hammock I should say, which is something I've not actually ever done with this one. Bought it years ago and actually never used it. And actually I bought it second hand because it was expensive, brand new. I am looking forward to tonight. I think it will be good, but I must admit that I do have a little bit of anxiety about being in the woods alone. It's pretty much a place I don't really like to be. You know, there's a lot of places to hide in the woods. I'm a little bit concerned about when it gets dark. In fact, I don't have too long until it gets dark. It is still winter, so best get pitching up.
Every section of Tony's land appeared to have a red warning sign on it, which meant it was impossible for me to avoid any of the hunting grounds. As I looked around the area, I just couldn't find any hammocking trees. It was like they'd all disappeared, or I'd not really been paying attention earlier.
I think I found a pretty solid spot. No massive branches to fall on me. I genuinely bought this years ago, maybe like 8 or more years ago, and I have never used it. I bought it off of a guy, God, I don't even know where, eBay or something maybe, and he assured me it's fine. So I hope it is. I've never used it. It's a Hennessy hammock, and these have a pretty good reputation, or at least they used to. I can see a problem straight away. I thought this was meant to have like a tarpaulin, because it is wet and it might be wet overnight. God, I might have to change positions to a bit more canopy cover. Again, I should have tested this before I came out. What is wrong with me? Right, it's underside entrance. Proof is in the pudding. Ah, hey! Hey, this is alright, you know. Right, I am kind of impressed with this, but the fact remains that I don't have a rain cover. This is why I should check things. Honestly, I do not know what my problem is and why I just don't do things before I come and have to use them. Like, I just needed to check everything was in there. Would have taken me 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. To know that there was not a tarpaulin, which I'm pretty sure this is meant to have. So thanks, bloke who sold this to me. I think this cost me 90 or £100, and they're 200 or 250 quid brand new. So that's why I was getting a bargain, wasn't it? Because I was getting half the bloody tent, half the hammock. Right, so what do? The big problem is the rain, the weather. Again, getting wet. Really don't want to get wet, obviously. I have checked the weather report this time, and it's meant to basically stay like this, which is kind of just a misty, foggy dampness. Nothing that's going to be too insurmountable, but do I really want to spend the next 12 hours in this condition? Not really. I need somewhere else that's going to have some tree cover. It is winter, so I need to find a bunch of evergreens that have some leaves still on them to help with stopping the rain. Do you hear that? Just heard a gunshot and dogs.
I packed everything into my bag and went on the hunt for a better location.
Come down to the stream, which is a nice area, and it's got canopy cover, but it's noisy. And as pleasant and quaint as a stream sounds now, at night time, you might as well times the volume by 10. It just becomes almost deafening. I think I'm going to have to keep looking. There will be somewhere else.
I was starting to feel a bit of pressure. I really needed to get my base sorted.
This technically actually doesn't appear to be any better. There's still not leaves in the trees, but starting to get a little bit pressed for time. But then was my other place a bit better? Do I just go back? But I was getting wet. Hold up. Maybe the answer is just there. It's a bit denser.
It was denser in the way that there were more thinner leafless branches than thicker leafless branches at the first hammock site, but I needed this spot to work, as it would soon be dark and I still had a lot of things to do.
I'm going to go and get some firewood. So I didn't bring everything with me all at once because there's no need. I'm sleeping in the back garden basically. So I'll nip over there, sneak away some firewood. I have actually asked for it already, so it's fine. I just don't want to basically interact with my family because this is solo. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and then arrange a little fire and settle in. I might also see if I can sneak some tarps, a bit of tarpaulin for myself to drape over so I don't get that wet. I think that would actually be a really good idea. Right, the wood doesn't seem that dry. Okay, we'll try our best though. Just gonna have a little look for a tarpaulin in Tony's workshop. This looks amazing. I think this is something for like covering a car up or something, so I'm gonna take this and bring it back tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be okay with that. Okay, great. If you've seen that film All Quiet on the Western Front, where they go and nick some, is it duck or geese or chicken? Chicken, let's say chicken, I can't remember. Where they go and nick some chicken from the farmer, from the farmhouse. I just feel like I've done that. Just stolen some bits and now heading back to my camp. I am already regretting this silly challenge, if I'm completely honest. It's kind of a lot. It's a lot of bloody effort to just spend a night out each month. I thought it was the minimum I could do, and it's turning out to be the bloody whole thing I spend a month trying to figure out and worry about. Oh well. Only 10 more times after this. Not even halfway.
Rain sheet and dryish wood acquired, I was finally in a good position.
Hello. Say that again.
I saw you come back stealing some firewood.
Did you see me get that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, welcome to my camp. Technically, you are not allowed to be here. This is against the rules, but it's okay. Don't tell your dad, but I borrowed like that grey thing.
You stole that as well.
With my little family surprising me, the pressure was on to get the rain cover hung and the firewood cut.
Done.
Are you joking? My trusty lighter failed me. I tried in vain to warm it up, but it wasn't having none of it.
Hey, there's someone with a light coming.
Is there?
Turned out it was only Tony and he'd come to check out the camp, but I only had one thing on my mind.
Have you got a matches or a lighter on you? Yes, Tony's got a lighter, yes. Oh, this is very bright. Oh, that's very bright.
The end of the
Ah!
way, basically. That sounded like a wolf.
I was back on my own, left with a fire I couldn't start, so I had to strip it all back and start over again. The fire is going, thank God. Finally got it just in a nice little sweet spot, so probably be good for a couple of hours. It's pitch black. There is nothing to see beyond the fire. I can hear cracks and, branches and things. Just the sound of the forest, of the wood. And I am doing what my ancestors have done thousands of years. Just time to enjoy it. I do have a few little snacks. Rustled myself up a little burger. Absolutely prime. Got a little twirl, which was actually just forgotten about in my bag.
Delicious.
Cheers. It's really nice to have the time to just stare into the fire and let your thoughts just happen. In fact, I can't even tell you what I've just been thinking about for the last hour. But I think this is definitely part of the reason for doing it, part of the benefits of being outdoors. I'm pleased to be here. I'm pleased it's all worked out so far. There was a time earlier when Holly came with Rex and then Tony showed up a little bit later on that I really thought, I'll just go back with these guys. Screw it, what's the point? Why bother staying out here, and I can't help it. I felt like that in Dartmoor, I feel like that now. It's strange. I think it's the anxiety of the unknown, putting myself out here in the pitch blackness, in some place I'm unfamiliar with, in some hammock I'm unfamiliar with, in a whole everything, it's just part of your mind is screaming, just
just don't bother doing that to yourself. Just go and have a nice sleep in comfort and safety. You know, the safety of knowing that you have everything that you need and want. Out here, obviously, things are stripped back, but that's the point. You know, it's about having a bit more of a raw experience, and it's only a night. You know, it's not exactly long. And again, if it all goes tits up, I just walk back to the house at the end of the day. Yeah, I was going to say no shame, but there is a bit of shame if you fail your own challenge you set yourself. You know, which is quite full on, setting a challenge and going ahead with it. Thought it'd be easier than this. I'm in. And you know what? Feels pretty good. I very much feel like I'm in my own little world now. Might be a success yet.
The fire died and the night was dark. It was pretty uneventful, except for one weird little thing, that coming in a moment. But the clouds barely cleared all night, making this time-lapse shot pretty difficult to use. Speaking of time-lapses, I had a user error with my own camera in the hammock. I was doing some recordings while in the hammock and I shot them in time-lapse mode, so made them completely useless. Oh well.
Last night I heard this really weird noise, like a murmuring, like a muffled conversation, kind of like this, like. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I did peek over my hammock sides, like through the mesh, to see if I could see anything, but it was pitch black. And I wasn't scared, but I was just really confused because I couldn't understand what this kind of sound was. And then I thought about it, and I have to assume that it's a herd of cows. Just trying to see if they're there. There's cows in the field, so it must have been them. They must have kind of just headed over this way last night, sat down for a little sleep over there, and that's the noise they're making. At least that's what I hope they make, because otherwise I've got no justification for what the hell that weird noise was.
It was time to leave the woods. You wouldn't be able to tell I'd ever been there. I walked back to the house ready for a hot shower and a cup of coffee. Life is good. Get outside.